When intense storms gather above Savannah, there's always the potential for several inches of rain in a very short amount of time. And since water always follows the path of least resistance, it tends to pool and flood the lowest lying areas. Savannah has a lot of those low-lying areas. What you are seeing, the areas being shaded in blue, are the lowest elevations in town. This represents where the water would go if we let it. From up here, you can also see that it's not just the water falling from the sky that we have to worry about. The rivers, streams, and marshlands that surround the city are what attracted many of us to Savannah, but they also put us at the mercy of tidal forces, especially those of us who live in some of these lowest areas. On the east side, the lowland creates what looks like a river, following a path right along the Truman Parkway. The neighborhoods along Waters Avenue and all the way over to Abercorn and down to 63rd are in some of the city's lowest elevations. West side neighborhoods are also lower than the surrounding areas. This creates a dip in the landscape that in colonial times was easily flooded. It's a feature that was exploited to grow rice. On the south side, the lowest elevations encroach finger-like, reaching out from the rivers and marshlands to grab the neighborhoods far inland. Even with this unfortunate topography, Savannah could still handle most of the heavy rain that comes this way, if that rain were allowed to simply soak into the ground. It can no longer do that because of us. The areas being shaded in red are the places where water can no longer soak into the ground because of our homes, businesses, streets, and parking lots. With this natural drainage method blocked over most of the city, even more water gets pushed into those blue neighborhoods, the lowest elevations. This is why, not so long ago, 7 inches of rain in a single day had devastating effects on our neighborhoods. Look at what Savannah neighbors had to deal with just 10 years ago. Dangerous floodwaters filling not just the streets, but their homes as well. The only way to stop this kind of damage is to convince the water to go somewhere else, to control it. But again, because we live in a city surrounded by water and a vast, almost unbroken plain of asphalt and concrete, keeping heavy rains out of your house takes a tremendous feat of engineering. And as you might expect, that does not come easy or cheap. Homes had to be destroyed to create areas for natural absorption. Streets were ripped up, closed for months at a time to build miles of new, bigger drainage lines. Canals were widened to increase their capacity. Several new detention ponds have been built, and 4 new pump stations now help lift and push massive amounts of stormwater away from our homes. The financial toll has risen to $200 million in just the last 2 decades. Most of that came from special purpose local option sales taxes, and every area of the city benefited. All these improvements have helped significantly, almost eradicating the chances that your home will flood. But we still hear complaints about water in the streets, mainly in these lowest areas. To see why, we need to peel back a few layers and take a look at what's going on under the streets, inside the pipes. This very simple animation illustrates how, under most conditions, we can handle all the rain and keep the stormwater in the pipes. We push, pull, and pump it away in order to keep it from inundating neighborhoods. But in severe events, high tides and lots of rain over a short period of time can combine and push the system near capacity. It can happen in any system. If you try to push enough water through all at once, it's going to slow down and back up. In our case, it backs up into the street and we end up with some puddles and pooling until the system catches up and takes the water away. That is the extent of the recurring problems. It has been years since a heavy rain event destroyed any homes here, and for the most part, the city has managed to take flooding from a devastating certainty to a sometimes inconvenience. But in 2007, a higher level of protection was demanded here, and the city set out to improve the street flooding issue. At first, it looked like a quick fix, according to Water Resources and Public Works Director Bob Scanlon.
Initially, the first thought was that when we put the cedar box in, we really didn't do any of the capillaries or the pipes coming in from the neighborhoods to the box. So we thought we just need to go back and do that.
The cedar box is actually a huge pipe running down Live Oak and Cedar Streets from Victory all the way to Wheaton. This neighborhood was first in line after the special purpose local option sales tax money became available, and this was the first major project the city did back in the mid-90s. Scanlon and his team had planned to simply connect pipes from the flooded streets down to the existing box and push the water away. But remember what I said about this drainage stuff not being easy? Turns out the cedar box is already doing exactly what it was designed to do, and a little more.
The cedar box is already at capacity. When we look at the storm of record, that's where the flooding was, right over the box. So we said if we push the water down over here, it's only going to come back over here, And so we're going to wind up flooding homes along the Cedar Box if we put more water in it. So we said, no, we need to look at something different. It's going to be more complicated, a lot more complicated than what we originally thought.
As it turned out, every potential quick fix just created more flooding in a different part of the neighborhood. Scanlon quickly realized that they would have to go back to the drawing board and figure out how all the water is moving in this area in order to fix those brief periods of street flooding.
So we actually then had to back up and actually, for the first time, create a full model basin for the Casey North Basin. That took quite a bit of time to do. It was a fairly elaborate model that had to be created.
That model went to an engineering firm in hopes of finding a final solution. That firm just came back with their answer in August, and it was not great news.
In looking at that proposal, we realized that the solution to this may actually be worse than the problem.